So arrive in the room, have your feet parallel shoulder width apart, and breathe.
Long way away.
And how shall we start? We could start by shaking, we could start by rubbing the body, we could start by, let's do some shrugs. And as you shrug, you can also open your fingers, open your jaw. Work the neck, just move the top half of the body to start with. So it's good when you do the warm-up to do it in a different order. You don't have to go always into the swings to start with. You don't always have to shake first. You can do it in different orders. It keeps it fresh when you change it. And then working on the hips. So really get into the hips, lubricate those ball and socket joints. So you can do this in a more restrained way, or you can do it by really tilting and turning, really getting into some Latin grooves here, changing the direction. Also, as you do this, not only with your mind in the ball and socket joint, but also in the mid-back, in the lumbar spine as well. So it's nice just to feel flattening the back out. Good. And then just come into some arm rolls. So let's just do one arm at a time. If you can, brush the upper arm against the ear. That may be not quite possible for you, in which case you can do it more like this. But and then a kind of backstroke effect. And then the other direction, which this doesn't work for me particularly, this direction. But it may work for you. Hi Debbie. Say hello to the folks at home. Okay, and then we go to the swings. So breathing, yes. Really let the arms go, really let the shoulders go. Do as little as possible. Feel the arms like pendulums, isn't that the right word? Pendulums just hanging from your shoulders. Keep the neck straight. So always try and avoid this sort of movement, this gesture with the neck sticking out. So I tend to do this, so I have to work at it. You may not do this, so more for me than it is for you perhaps. But I think it's one of the kind of contemporary ills of kind of creaking the neck because you're looking at a screen. So if you allow the chin to drop slightly, then you lengthen the neck. And then doing the crossing over. Again, you don't have to follow me exactly, just cross at random. So freeing up the diaphragm area, freeing up the breath. Smile. Hi there. Everything is beautiful. And then it's quite nice to do this in the bow stance, then you get a bit of a foot massage thrown in. So keep that feeling of hinging on the knee, feeling of springiness in the step. It is spring in the step. And feel the weight moving across the foot from the ball of the foot to the heel, to the toes, changing over. Then going into a wide stance. Feel kind of like, yeah, don't mess with me kind of feeling with the wide stance. And then from here going into the palms facing upwards. So if you're doing something in the morning, this is really good just to wake everything up. It's very activating, very energizing. And then a flick. Flicking down Almost like flicking from the head. Too many thoughts, too many tape loops. And then stop and just pause for a few breaths. Feel the body going into this nice vertical position. Heaviness dropping, lightness rising. So we separate the yin yang quality of the body. We have a bit of space under the armpits. We have nice and open knees, open elbows as well. So no locking of the joints. Everything open, everything flowing. What should we do? Let's tap. So, or knock rather. So going into your very flexible knocking position. You can do anywhere in the body. Anything lower down is much more soft. You don't want to punch yourself in the stomach particularly. And actually avoid going down lower abdomen. That probably isn't, unless you do it very softly. Down the legs. Avoid knocking directly onto the knee. Really have a go at the sacrum. Sacrum really benefits from this. As though you're hammering yourself into the ground. You're feeling a bit out, all over the place. This feeling of really knocking on the sacrum just feels as though you're getting your feet back on the ground. So for anxiety, going down the legs, under the knees, hamstrings. Allow yourself to bend over more fully just by loosening off the hamstrings. Maybe then let's hang out for a little bit. Let the neck go, let the arms go, let the head go. Move the body from side to side. As you do that, arms. Move the arms by swaying the body. Let the head go. Imagine you're drawing shapes. You can do calligraphy with your fingers on the ground, as we were talking about. And then building the spine back from, as though you were rebuilding your spine, placing each vertebra one on top of another, leaving the head down to last, coming up like a neglected plant that's just been watered. Thank you. And then stand tall. And then from here, just shake the hands to start with. Leave the rest of the body alone. Shake the hands. Create space between the fingers, space between the knuckles. And then start to extend the shaking into the arms, to the elbows, opening the joints, shaking out stiffness from the body. Shaking into the shoulders, to the hips, and then just start letting the shaking, as though the shaking were coming right from the very core of the body. So shaking from the inside out. So with shaking, you can really go mad and go kind of crazy, but you can also do quite a more subtle shake where you're doing it more of like a fine vibration kind of feeling. Shaking your leg. So you can do this holding on to something. It's quite nice to do that. You've got something nearby. And then getting more into the hips. Either using your hands or without the hands. Easy with the hands, you can really get a bit of leverage with the hips. And can you shake your jaw? Can you let your jaw shake? Just relax. Just let the jaw tremble. This can open up a lot of, actually can be a gateway to opening up emotions, so it can be done perhaps not in a great, not too much.
You do it vertically or horizontally?
Vertically.
Vertically.
Actually, no, it's not like I'm trembling, like imagine you're very cold or very scared, but not the scared bit perhaps. Quite hard. Actually, just do a bit of jaw stretching. It's amazing how much tension is locked in the jaw and how much of that is historic emotional armouring, I suppose. Psychologist Wilhelm Reich did a lot of work on that in the 1920s. So he also went to very strange areas later on in his life. Quite interesting, actually. A bit qigong-y. Anyway, let's do some rubbing. Let's do the whole body rub. So have your hands like this, so your fingers are closed, thumbs are separate. And then I'm kind of rubbing the face, taking all that stress off the face, down the back of the neck, round, and then round under the rib cage, like the healing form, and then either side of the hips, coming down, like taking a layer off the body, and then going over the tops of the feet, and then a bit of a shake. And we could do this just an idea of receiving some, whatever it's called. What do you call that when you take a layer?
Elixir, ambrosia, elixir.
Yeah. Exfoliating, that's what
Oh,
it is.
I thought you meant receiving.
Exfoliation, it's like an exfoliation. So we do that one more time. This is a very integrative rub as well. So we kind of receive this exfoliation that's going to take off everything we don't want, but not in one go perhaps. Perhaps just sort of 1%, but 1% I'll take that. Down over the kidneys. So you recognise this as the healing form, but done touching the body, and then just a bit more specific rubbing down the arms. You do it hard or soft. You can also do it up the arms and down the inside. This follows the more natural meridian pathways. There's some debate about which way you should rub. Life's too short for that debate. Can get quite heated on, what you should rub up the outside of the arms, not down, because that's the way the meridians go. But anyway, and then rub the hands. Rubbing the hands, actually we will intersperse rubbing the hands during the practice today. I think this can often be more useful than realised. Squeezing the knuckles, rubbing between the fingers. The hands, imagine you've been doing lots of gardening.
Don't need to imagine.
Yeah.
But imagine as we do the chi, our kind of hands may accumulate kind of stuffy energy, so it's quite nice to refresh the hands. Doing a few forearm rope burns. And then rubbing the kidneys, rubbing the sacrum, rubbing as far as you can go up the body. Okay, and then pausing. So Wuji standing. So Wuji literally means, what does it? No, it doesn't literally mean anything. It's very hard to define, in fact. So it's kind of like emptiness. It's before yin and yang. So it's standing in a way which is very empty, but in a kind of Eastern sense of emptiness, as opposed to a Western sense. So there's a sense of space and possibility in the body. So we feel like the structure of the body is very firm, but there's a feeling of spaciousness in the body, which allows the body to rearrange itself into more healthy patterns. So breathing, let the feet really, like this t-shirt, let the feet go down into the earth, deep roots. As you find that rootedness, that earthing, there's a feeling of, I'm being held by the earth, I'm being looked after by the ground. In a way, some of the excessive mental activity can just drop into the ground and be discharged. So the earth element in Chinese medicine often associated with anxiety as well. So today we're going to do a very, very ancient Chinese practice, very, very ancient, recently discovered mountain, Huashen mountain. It's called M25 Qigong. Okay, so I'll explain about the M25 bit. So I've been on it a lot recently. So the M25 is this bit. So it's just, we're going to be going off and on the M25. This is our reference point. So coming up to horizontal. So we're on the M25 at 2 in the morning and it's free flowing. There's no hold-ups, no roadworks. You can just go round and round very, very fast. Well, not fast. You can stay within the speed limits, folks. And there's a sense of flow. Breathing in, breathing out. As you breathe out, dropping any mental activity into the earth. Feel the joints opening and closing, especially the wrists. So with Qigong, we can do a movement and then we can say, well, what's hidden in this movement? Where would it go next? So it's like a playlist. So where do I want to go with this? I could go in different directions from this movement. So I could hold a ball, I could go to the side. But today, let's let the movement widen so the arms start to come further apart. So this is sort of morphing into another Qigong movement. We haven't quite got there yet. So we've taken, we're going down the M3 at the moment, towards Winchester, Southampton, and the West Country. I don't know. I maybe won't do this metaphor for too long. It's quite tedious. So just stay with the breathing pattern, stay with the knee bending pattern. And those of you who've been doing this a long time start to recognize where we're going with this. And then just pause. So we're going to change over the knee situation here. So we're now into wild geese. Let the hands come up and then breathe out. For the start, we just have the hands coming almost to the legs. So the knees are now bending as we drop the hands and we're still breathing out. So this is one of the crane movements or one of the bird movements from the 5 animals. So as we raise the arms, not quite touching at the top, it's like the head's in the way of the hands touching. As we breathe in, we imagine we're breathing into the spine. We feel the spine becoming freer. As we breathe out, we can maybe breathe out anything in the spine that feels rigid or tight or injured. So imagine yourself as a bird flying, looking down. You've got this big picture. You're looking down, you can see lots of detail. And then we start to go into various versions of the bird movement. So have this feeling of space in the body, feeling of airiness in the body, like opening windows in your body. Okay, now the hands go behind the body, arms facing up. And we go into a squat. So from the side. So a squat doesn't have to be deep, it can just be a very small squat, but it's up to you depending on how you feel. You can go right down very low into a bird squat. So we're pumping this area of the body, pumping the energy by squatting, also good for the lymphatic system.
Does it matter which hand is on top?
No, a good question. Well done, Julie.
Thank you.
Actually switch, it doesn't matter which hand's on top, but actually change over, but don't sort of give it too much thought, if it's the same hand each time. And then, not sure I can do this one on camera. And then come back, have the feet together. So this is going to be more of a traditional crane movement. So this is requiring a bit of balance. So coming up and pointing the toe down and then landing. So if you've seen a crane standing, it is very much like this. So really root the standing leg and pointing the toe down. Oops. As you do this, you could focus on a vertical point in your peripheral vision. It's probably easier to do this with your eyes open. Okay, won't do that for too long. And then come back and then roll the shoulders, because the bird does kind of work on the shoulders quite a bit. And then going back to the feet together, do our sort of Bollywood move. It's like a wave moving from one hand to another through the shoulders. If you can actually do this for more than a minute, it will really help tension the shoulders. But the shoulders tend to scream after about 30 seconds. So it's not just, yeah. And then kind of, And then let's go back to the M25. So we go back to the knees bend as the hands come up, with the hands slightly, so we're morphing, segueing back into that movement. And then the hands start to approach each other as we come back. And when they are back on the London orbital. So we're thinking, where do we want to go from here? So I don't know either where we're going to go, so let's just do it. Okay, yeah, we're going to go to the side. So put the weight into the left leg, pivot on the right heel, and then going forward, breathing in, breathing out. So the hand should be, let's move over, hand should be either side of the leg. Breathing in on the front leg, hands forward, breathing out on the back leg. I find this a really nice movement, actually, really relaxing. So I'm just moving around for illustration purposes. And then this suggests another movement, part of the Shabashi. Scooping the sea to view the sky. So next time the hands are back, just pause and then turn the palms, have the right on the top to start with, and then come forward and then scooping up water, and then breathing out, hands come down, and then changing the cross of the wrists. So change the cross of the wrists each time. Breathing out as you come down, and you can look up as well. Scooping up, breathing in, breathing out. Lovely. So we could go into more movements like this, but we've just hit a few roadworks, so we're going to go back and do the other side. However, let's turn around and then, but from here, we're not quite ready to do the same thing on the other side. Are we okay with temperature? Don't want any nasty drafts. So just standing for a few moments, just rooting. So let's work directly on the legs. So have the hands, backs of the hands almost touching. And stir the ground a little bit, feeling of the fingers going into the earth. Just come up to the navel with the palms facing the ground. And then we'll do some more squatting. Breathing out. Again, it doesn't have to be a deep squat. If you can, go right down and then come up. Breathing in from the ground, coming round and then breathing out. Rubbing this elixir into the legs. The legs really strong, like bamboo, very flexible. Breathing out, hands going down. This time not bending down, but just mentally sending the hands down the outside of the legs. Mentally bringing up the energy from the earth via the inside of the legs. So almost everybody goes down the outside of the legs and up the inside. There's no sort of controversy about that at all. That's also the direction the meridians flow as well, so I think that's probably why. So feel like the hands are going a long way into the ground, maybe hundreds of meters, like right down in there. And again, this is reinforcing our sense of connection to the ground, our intimacy with the earth. This kind of dropping of anxiety, dropping of worry, dropping of overthinking, just really up to the navel, up to the dantian, perhaps charging the dantian. And then doing the entire thing mentally. So just this time resting the hands, but still having a sense of the hands. Mentally send the hands down the outside. And then as you breathe in, so feel this current of chi, current of air, current of breath, coming up the inside, down the outside. As though you were breathing in from the center of the earth. Imagine drawing up from the center of the earth into the dantian, down the outside. Space under the armpits. Smile. This is always available to you, this feeling of earth connection. As we connect to the earth, it kind of frees up space for the top half of the body to connect to the sky. It's like we don't have to consciously do that as much. But by getting all the heaviness out of the way, it naturally has that sense of connecting the yang elements to the sky, to heaven, traditionally spoken of. And then we're going to move to the side and do these movements. Weight into the right leg and then hinging on the left heel and then coming up and coming into the side movement. Breathing in, breathing out. Giving those feet a massage. Often when we're standing one place for too long, feet can feel quite congested. So doing the same thing on each side. And now going into scooping the seat of view of the sky, crossing the wrists, not touching the wrists, crossing differently each time, so altering the cross of the wrists. The feeling of scooping up water. So water element often associated with kidneys. So this can be a sense of drawing up energy into the kidneys as well, working on kidney and bladder meridians. Good. And then from here, do one more, and then we'll come back and land. Time to go to a service station for a cup of coffee. So $4.50 for a latte.
Ooh.
South Mims or Blackett Lane, depending on. Let's have a little bit of a shake, but not too much. Actually, just fancy a bit of a rub on the shoulders as well. So if ever you're practicing sort of freestyle qigong, it's always good to sort of pause and then rub the hands again, because we're feeling of having accumulated stagnant qi as we, nothing personal of course, we've all got it, but just sort of cleansing the hands. It's quite nice as well. It's working the wrists and a few rep burns. Make a bit of a tantrum. $4.50 for a latte. What a rip off. And then back to your standard qigong position, feet parallel, about shoulder width apart. Again, where you stand is sort of depending on your physiology. So some people stand, I see some teachers stand quite wide and others stand more narrow. So it's where it works for you. The idea of this standing position is to open up the lumbar spine and also to ground and to have that verticality in the body. So that may be slightly different for each person. Go back to our, now from here, where we're going to go. What do the hands want to do? So this time, when the hands are up, next time the hands are up, pause them. So the palms now turn and say hello to each other. And then, before you know it, a ball has formed between your hands. So get that ball forming. Just let it happen. Let this ball of energy coalesce, condense, other words. Anybody got thesaurus? Just hold it. So what does the ball want to do? The ball wants to move by itself. The ball wants to follow some of the small heavenly circulation routes. So let the ball touch the front of the chest and come down close to the body, as though the ball were a medicine ball. Just come down to the groin to start with. Feel like the ball is moving the hands, coming to about throat level. And we could start widening the circle, coming up to the third eye, down to the knees. So feel like the ball is leading your hands, coming up to top of the head. Now you might have got sick of squatting, so you don't have to go down too low, but and then coming up. So we can breathe out as the hands come up. Breathe. What do I say? Breathe, breathe out as the hands come down. Breathe in as the hands come up. Breathing in. Breathing out. Ball rubbing against the front of the body. Again, you could imagine the ball is drawing out stagnation, illness, injury from the body. And then you can start to do more interesting things with the ball. Let's just pause with the ball above the head. Dropping the elbows, dropping the shoulders. And then coming behind the head. Now we can clear the neck by passing the ball through the body. Imagine the ball taking out tension in the neck. And then come round, and then just around the solar plexus level, take the ball through the body again, and then hover over the kidneys, and then take the ball down the spine, right down to the knees, and then pass through the knees, and then up. So we have this circuit, bit of going through the body. Again, you can see this as echoes of the healing form in this particular moment, but using a ball coming down through the knees. We could imagine at the bottom, we can imagine the ball going under the feet. So let the ball guide you. Imagine going under the feet this time, catching the ball. So I think the best thing with the breathing here is simply to let the breathing happen, because the movement's quite large. It's hard to synchronize exactly, but let your breathing be natural, but make sure the breathing is smooth and deep, coming around the body. Lovely movement, this. So where do we want to go from here? Do we want to go back to our orbital? In a sense, this is a bit of an orbital journey, this one. This is probably the large heavenly circulation, this one. So it's sort of cosmic M25. Okay, and then just go back to where we started with the ball, just coming up to the chest and then just going down through the body. So from here, there are different options. So does the ball want to move spontaneously? If you're practicing alone, you could kind of get a feeling of what's happening. So today it's not going to do that, so we're going to go back. Just pause with the hands outstretched. Returning, and then coming back, breathing in. So we've made references to the healing form today. Let's go, actually, the hands are going to go from here into the healing form, an unusual transition. Next time your hands are horizontal, keep them there. Hands touch each other, but this time there's no ball there. This time there's a sense of the hands being pushed apart by a ball. So standing in this very nice open position. It always reminds me of The Vitruvian Man by Leonardo da Vinci, this posture, or Christ the Redeemer statue. That sounds a bit off that comment. So, anybody from America watching this? Sorry, I didn't say that. But it's a lovely kind of feeling of openness, welcome. Keep the shoulder blades nice and separate. And then the hands journeying in towards the sky. Hands want to touch, but then the head's in the way, so they don't. They bring down. So we're not going to squat anymore. So gliding over the back, healing form. That's one of the most useful exercises in Qigong. Coming under the ribs, hovering over, coming round. Going as far as the tailbone, keeping a fist distance away, and then sending the hands down. With your breathing is simply natural breathing. Don't have to synchronize. So this becomes like a mantra. You can just do this. You can use this as a focus for the mind. So as you practice, feel like your mind is in the movements. You can just let the brain go completely. You can let the hands know where to go. It's almost like tram lines. Hands know where to go. So lots of variations from here. We could go in different directions from this particular movement. So I think we'll do Catching the Sun. So I think we have some of that next week. Just do a few of these. You can look up as well. I don't always do that, but I think it's quite nice to look up when you do this. Again, any kind of looking up has to avoid any sense of the neck being compromised. Bringing down. And now, next time your hands are outstretched in the Vitruvian Man or woman posture, just pause there. So as we continue to practice through the session, it becomes easier to hold the arms in these sort of potentially uncomfortable positions. Rotate the shoulders, turn the palms up. Now, really bring the shoulder blades together, put the weight onto the front of the feet, and then like winding up an old clock, and then let the hands zoom to the sun. Bring the sun down, catch the sun. Feel the heart warmed by this. Bring the hands down, warm the solar plexus. Bring the hands down even further, level with the dantian, warm the dantian. Just going to do that one more time. Just bring the hands round to the dantian, and then let the hands go down. Come back, healing form. Turn the palms to face up. Wind up, wind up, wind up. Really try and touch the shoulder blades together. And then release, release of spring, catch the sun. This time, feeling the warmth and the heat, easing the rib cage, relaxing the heart. Feel the heart going, lovely warmth, like sunbathing. Now, doing something slightly different to normal. Bring the hands, absorb the heat. But this time the hands are going to touch the body. Left hand on the outside, right hand on touching the body. Close the fingers, place the hands on the heart. Just have a feeling of absorbing that heat, light, soothing quality into the heart. So we're going to connect the heart and the brain together. Often those two aspects of ourselves are not always synchronized the way they should be. Bring the hands into a prayer position and then come up to the throat. Come up to the third eye. Come up high. Bring the hands around the back of the neck. And this position here, this really opening up the shoulders, but feel like you are clearing any obstruction in the throat and neck. And feel that connection between the heart and the brain working together. In fact, what we want is for the heart and the brain and the gut to be working together. You could consider this to be three brains working together. Also the three dantians of the body. So let's bring the hands down the front. Keep in this prayer position as we slide down to the solar plexus. And then reverse the hands. And mentally connect these three energy points. Center of the head, upper dantian, heart center, heart space, middle dantian, and then the lower dantian. Feel like we are connecting, there are channels established. Any mud, any obstruction in the channels cleared away. Good. And then release the hands, and then just stand. And again, just doing a few rotations, a few adjustments. Restand, just stand in a slightly different place. As though the place you are standing on has got a bit grubby and you want to stand somewhere fresh. Actually rubbing, a bit of rubbing. Rub the soles of the feet, tap the toes, tap the fingers together, tap the teeth together, tapping the extremities of the body, of the hands again. Squeeze knuckles. And then back to standing and lengthen the neck. Widen the shoulders. Lifting the rib cage slightly away from the hips. So we haven't done anything in the horse stance yet. Before we do that, let's bring the feet together. And then place the hands on the body. Close the fingers, close the eyes. Now closing the eyes and you can feel a bit wobbly doing this. Feel as though you have condensed your body into a single thread of light. Imagine the spine illuminated. Perhaps a cord or a column of light going up your spine. I feel like the illumination of the spine starts to expand, so we lift the hands away. Bring the feet up to the normal stance. But feel the light in your body expanding, coming into horse stance, and then coming into this open position. So look at how the palms are facing slightly inwards, so there's a feeling of containment here. So standing in this large X position. Feel the entire body like in a cocoon of light. Feel like you are surrounded by beautiful light. So let's go into the fountain movement. So as the hands come down, imagine light coming out of the fingers, different colours. So we're moving more into the Shen quality, the light quality of Qigong. And then coming up, center of the body, not stopping at the heart this time, but just coming up. And imagine light pouring out of the head. So think of this as like a multicolored firework display. Just light everywhere coming out. Just like a display of light. So I'm going to do illumination of the internal organs using this position. So we're going to start with the liver. So pause with the hands outstretched. Focus your attention on the physical liver on the right hand side of the body. Imagine the liver as a green colour. Imagine the light of the liver is a strong spring-like green quality with no shadow in it, no dark. It's uniform light. So feel that almost looking at you, I'd see this green colour in the liver. Feel the liver strong, bright. And then release that tension and just come back. Do another round. This time, just do a round of light. This time now focusing on the heart space. Now bring the hands just pointing towards the heart space. Feel the heart red, luminous, maybe the colour of a poppy, maybe a different shade of red, doesn't matter. But again, when we visualize the heart, we see the colour is uniform. So no shadows, no dark bits, no light bits. We see that the light is being uninterrupted, unsullied. Good. Keep breathing. Oh, my breathing then stopped. And then bringing the hands down, coming round to just do a few rounds of this. Oops. Come down, up. This time, it's solar plexus, spleen and stomach. This time, just keep the hands up as we do this. Imagine a yellow colour on the spleen and the stomach. Visualize this central area here. Also, increase the feeling of connection between the soles of the feet. So imagine a yellow colour around the midriff. No shadows, no dark areas, no light areas. Uniform, beautiful colour. And then coming down, do a few rounds. Light coming out of the fingers. Moving towards the lungs. This time bring the hands up and just placing slightly to the side here. So imagine that the whole of the lung area white. So imagine that white light uninterrupted by any cracks or any dark areas. So feel that this is the quality of light, healing with light is probably the most powerful. So feel the lungs a uniform bright light. Breathe. Just move the thumb slightly. Good. And then down, and then the last is the kidneys. Just coming around. Good. And this time just having the hands out. Now visualize the kidneys as surrounded by a very dark blue colour, almost black but bright, sort of dark star kind of stuff. Black star. So imagine the kidneys, again, no kind of variations in the light around the kidneys. Beautiful, strong, dark. And then letting the hands come down. So the feet are going to feel a little bit congested right now. Then bring the feet, restand, last 5 minutes. Let's do a few bits of shoulder rolling, a bit of rubbing. So staying with the light theme, we do the cosmic light thing. Yeah, that's a good idea. Just have a bit of a shake as well. Just very, very light shake. Sort of higher frequency shaking. Just back to that feeling of standing on the earth. Smile. Relax. Hands coming up. Holding the ball. Feel a lightness in the arms, as though the arms are coming out of the spine, as though the arms are simply floating, either resting on something, or there may be a quality of the arms feeling really light and buoyant. And then the ball pushing the arms wide. And then the arms coming out to a place where they are just in front of the body. Wide. And then bringing the arms down. So different options here, sometimes forming a ball which can protect us. Today doing something a bit different, staying with the light theme. So imagine yourself, dark sky, so probably not this time of year where it doesn't actually get dark properly. So imagine yourself in the middle of winter, nice and warm, maybe on Dartmoor somewhere, dark sky, looking up at the sky, seeing everything really clear, the constellations. Maybe you recognize the constellations. So feeling as though in your hand, this ball in front of you is the size of the sky. Looking at maybe some planets out there. Sirius, brightest star in the sky, also known as the dog star. In Chinese, Tianliang, the celestial wolf. But let's focus on the plough, otherwise known as the Big Dipper. Thinking of the saucepan bit, imagining the plough, the Big Dipper, as a saucepan full of purple light. So keep breathing as you stand here, just visualize holding between your hands the entire dome of the sky, and then allowing the body to go into a receptive state. There's a feeling of opening the crown of the head at the same time, really being careful to keep that feeling of the soles of the feet touching the earth and rooting. Now the saucepan turns upside down and the purple light comes out and it floods down, showering you with purple light. Light going over your body, light going into your body. Feel the whole body, purple light, in, over, through the body. Clearing, cleaning, cleansing the body. feeling our connection with the universe. Recognition that the atoms in our body are created in stars in the Big Bang, exploding stars. So let that purple light infuse and caress and melt through the body. And then just start to bring the hands up, closing down the celestial dome. Last of the light settling into the body, and then push against the ball with the arms. Might feel a bit of an effort. Bring the hands towards the dantian, keep that journey going. Right hand will settle directly on the body, fingers will close. Left hand sits on the right, just below the navel, sealing everything in. The body flowing freely, the body feeling connected, the body feeling connected to the outside world, to rocks, to people, animals, sky, earth, birds, dogs. And above all, the body feeling grounded, earthed. Press in with the hands and returning back to the room, and a bit of rubbing just to finish off, down the arms, over the face. Rubbing the back, rubbing the front of the thighs, giving the knees a little bit of attention. Hello knees, sorry about what I did to you the other day. Rubbing the kidneys, swishing down, so just light rubs, just a sort of just getting back into that physical quality of the body. Thank you very much. Well done. Thank you for your practice.
Thank you,
Great,
Paul.
thank you.